Hello, everyone. Welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to take a quick look at Bitcoin, see what's going on here, and go from there. So ultimately, Bitcoin has been misbehaving, right? We know this. Strong leg down, pretty much consolidating right around 48,000 for lack of better terms, right at that lower Fibonacci retracement level, 0.786. So ultimately, not terrible shape for Bitcoin, but we do want to see some type of increase to to break 52,300 in the near future in order to kind of consider it more bullish, right? That'll take the fear index and increase it, so to speak, so people are a little less concerned. Then we're going to see some altcoins taking off pretty fast. But for right now, we do see green pretty much across the board because Bitcoin is up about 3% on the day, 3.5%, and it's doing well in that sense. Just before we get started, though, I'm so sorry I jumped right in. Not a financial advisor. I just love teaching people how to trade. I've got a trading community if you want to consider joining. We'll have a live website here soon by month end, but currently everything's facilitated through Patreon. So check that out in your own time. But what I want to show you here, of course, in the one-day chart is a couple things. First of all, we have the 200-day simple moving average working as a strong support level here. That's awesome. We love to see that. Now, I don't like it when the 200-day simple moving average is tested. I prefer it just not to even be a factor, where the price just stays slowly above, so it doesn't even come close. But now that we're here, all well and good. That is holding as a strong support. So 2 days in a row, it was effectively tested about 46,700, and then it stayed above, okay? So ultimately, we want to make sure we maintain a price point above that. And obviously, we want to close above 47,800 as well. Just say round number 48,000 is a strong support level, because you can see that level's been tested quite a few times and then recently closed below, and now today it's back above. So that inevitability, so to speak, the price had to come back up because we had 3 red days in a row. Okay, so we could expect another couple green days. A lot of this is contingent on what's going to happen with the news. I believe on Tuesday there's further announcements, of course, as well as the fact that we want to kind of see how the futures are going to be. The CME, if there's any type of gap, there could be a gap up tomorrow, perhaps. And just so you know, to what 4 p.m. It's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, basically, on here in the U.S. And what that is, that basically just when the futures open, right? So you can see here we had this gap down. Of course, the last 5 trading days have been kind of trending right here. If we see this gap up on Monday, that could give us a positive sign that we have more bullish sentiment. Okay, because again, right now CME futures, they're basically closed. They only close for right around a 24-hour period from Friday to Sunday, around roughly about the same time. But generally speaking, we're in a position right now where we could see that gap up, considering the fact we had some increase today. So if this continues to increase over the the next 24 hours, then it might be a very positive indication of the fact that we might be back on track, at least tentatively. But I want to exercise some caution there too, because obviously Bitcoin needs to go sideways for some time longer in order for us to have that healthy consolidation to back to the upside. Because you think about it, what is this? How many trading days is this? That was about took somewhere in a range of what, just say 3 weeks, and we came down about 28% in 3 weeks. That's quite a lot when you look at the big picture here and where Bitcoin's at. Okay. So ultimately, Bitcoin has been struggling, for lack of better terms, and it's in a position where, we will probably continue to see some sideways action, because the further something falls down, the longer it takes to recover. You cannot expect Bitcoin just to shoot straight up again in the near future. It'll slowly progress. Yes, eventually it will. It'll reach that point where it has to kind of ramp back up, like we saw right here. This could very well happen again, right? Because again, we had September 7th, El Salvador candle, the price comes down, and of course consolidates here, and then we get this nice little dead cat for the back down here. Okay, so we're kind of exuding similar behavior right now, where we could actually see a ramp back up to the upside within the next week or two. I think that's very likely, actually. But again, a lot of new stuff's going on, a lot of things in the world that are kind of driving the price action funny, if you will, and it's not behaving, I guess, normally as it should, based on the 4-year cycle and all of those things factored in. Okay. Now, granted, late December we should see the price back up. I would venture to guess we should probably see its all-time high tested, likely before year end or early next. That's a very strong likelihood. But for right now, again, a lot of craziness is going on right now, and I would not expect a major move in the next week or two until it kind of calms down and relaxes. And here's a wonderful analogy. I like to give this as an analogy for a lot of my members. Like, just say, for example, you fall down a flight of stairs, right? You're going to be messed up for a very long time. You could have a broken neck. You could be in a wheelchair. You could have crutches. That recovery takes a while, right? currency, stocks, whatever it is you're following, the harder it falls, the longer it takes to recover and come back up, because it's not like it just fell down and scuffed its knee, right? We literally broke some bones in this fall here. 27% decrease in 16 hours really changes the perception of how people want to invest. That mindset has a big factor on this, in addition to the fact that it's constantly being manipulated by whales that are really, really concerned with, inflation and a handful of other things going on in the world right now. Okay. So those are all complementing factors to the reason why Bitcoin is struggling. And again, I just wouldn't expect an immediate ramp back up. Yes, we might see 52,300 tested in the near future, but unless we can get that one-day candlestick to close above 52.3, we're not going to be in a position to want to continue to the upside. Okay, that's important. We've already got stopped out at 52,000 roughly, and we can see that that is a strong resistance zone. So just be mindful of that. All right, let's look at a couple other things here and call it a day. Looking at the 4 hour, we can see the 50-day set moving average is working its way down, of course, pushing the price action down, kind of working as a resistance. It'll only hold for so long. I doubt the price is going to, the 50 is going to push the price all the way down to 42,000. It'll probably just, come down and essentially average out somewhere around here, and we probably see the price back above in the near future. Not super concerned with that, but just note that those are commonly referred to as resistance levels in the scenario when the price is below. And once it's back above, could work as a support. What would be nice, of course, and this is just an inevitability, right? When the 50 starts working its way back up and the 200 keeps working its way down, and we have what is referred to as a golden cross. We should see that happen within the next couple of weeks. That's when I feel that we're going to be able to see the price action recover. That's roughly almost 2 weeks away, okay? So that's a good thing that's kind of on the horizon. The likelihood of that happening is very high, just based on the way that things are progressing right now. Okay, so all good stuff there. On the 1 hour, let's take a look at the cloud. We are getting rejected out by the second lead on the cloud. Good news is the lagging span is free of the price action for now, and the conversion line's above the baseline. So we've got 2 out of 3 positive indicators here on the 1 hour, but the fact that it's getting resisted out or rejected, kind of synonymous with previous behavior. It's having very difficult time breaking above the cloud, and that just tells us we're still in a bearish environment. Okay. So even though we have some complementing factors here, they're more mitigating, and they're not really helping at all, right? So it's kind of just giving us a whole lot of nothing and not really telling us much at all. So I would say the micro is not super one direction or the other. That kind of just reaffirms that consolidation state that I feel like we're going to be in for a little while. TD sequential, we're up to a 4, getting a bunch of resets. Highest we hit was a 6, and of course we keep coming. I mean, there's really no consistency here. In other words, it's just kind of the way that it goes right now. We can't really rely on it. All we can really do is look at some of the bigger picture stuff and understand that that's more relevant. Whereas the micro isn't super important. Yes, if you're day trading or you're just doing some really quick scalps, then that's a different story, of course. But for right now, based on the way that most of my members trade and just most of my viewers, we have nothing really to go on here right now, except for the fact that I think big picture, long term, we should want to consider. You want to consider dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum. I keep telling my community members this. You want to have no less than 50% of your overall portfolio into Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's just kind of the natural way in which you should have a HODL, portfolio set up. I plan to make a video for my members, of course, regarding kind of portfolio management, how that works. But for right now, the best advice is just a dollar cost average. The price is likely at its closest to its bottom, right? Again, it could come down to 42, but anything lower than 42,000, then we're basically considered a bear market, right? I don't think we're going to come any lower than that. Well, we trend a little bit lower now presently, perhaps. That the 200-day set moving average on the one-day chart's only going to hold for so long, and it could effectively we could lose that bottom. We don't know. It really just depends on the news, right? So ultimately, I would say have some money set aside. Ensure that you have a decent amount of your portfolio in some type of tether, or just whatever coin you feel the most beneficial at this point, so you can quickly and confidently be able to invest in some further dips if and when they happen. I think it's an inevitability, but on the same accord, it's also inevitable for the price to increase as well, right? At least subtly in the near future. Either way, I know this is conflicting information, but just be cautious, be careful, and make sure you ensure that you have a good amount of money set aside for future dips, because they're going to continue to happen. I mean, bear this in mind. Bitcoin drops by 3%. Most altcoins right now are dropping 9 to 12% on average. Okay. So it's no wonder why we can see so many of these up, 15, 16, 17%, is because they've been held down for so long and they're recovering, right? but wait until tomorrow. Watch when the CME opens and we have a maybe a gap down, for example. The likelihood of that's pretty low, right? But generally speaking, there's a lot of things that'll factor in here that we don't really see right now, that we can't forecast, except that it's obvious that every altcoin is responding. It's hypersensitive right now, right? This environment that we're in right now, there's just this I like to call it a knee-jerk reaction where it's like, oh geez, you can't help it. When you hit that certain spot, it just goes. And when Bitcoin hits that 3 to 5% variable, which is inevitable, altcoins respond as well. Okay, so just be prepared for I would say tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. There's a lot coming up here in the next 72 hours that we need to be mindful of, and at that point we can maybe make more of an informed decision once we have more information. We want to see how everything kind of comes into play here soon. So I hope you found benefit. Of course, here didn't provide more questions than answers. I obviously have a trading community. Check that out in your own time, of course, but really good group of folks. I highly recommend you consider joining because it's awesome. I mean, we're actually going to increase the rates next month just based on demand. We're transitioning over to a website, and it's really awesome in the sense that we're going to be able to have a nice collective learning environment, everything all in one place. And of course, we communicate through Discord and Telegram too. So check that out. Of course, thanks again for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you.